Alright, what's up, everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, another episode of the Look In series, and this one is on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They lost in 5 in the first round to the New York Knicks. A lot to talk about with this Cavs team. If you missed it earlier today, I did one on the LA Clippers. Go watch that. Also did one yesterday on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So if you missed any of them, there's a playlist on my channel. You could just go back and look at it and have all 17 and now 18, actually, it's the 18th episode of the Look In series. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts version. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, all stuff like that. Really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the Cavaliers this season, they finished 51 and 31. Their best team, non-LeBron team since like the mid 90s. And they made their first playoff appearance without LeBron on the roster since 1998. Their first playoff appearance really since 2018 after they lost in the finals and LeBron left. And this Cavs team, they made a big move in the offseason after last year being a huge surprise, being a top team in the East, but then injuries happened and they fell all the way to the play-in. And then they lost 2 play-in games as the 8th seed, and they missed out on the playoffs in the offseason. They went out and made a huge move, giving up Larry Marketing, Colin Sexton, who they signed and traded, the rookie Ochai Agbaji, and a couple firsts to Utah to go get Donovan Mitchell, a huge move. And it looked like it really worked out for them. Donovan Mitchell was great this season. Darius Garland, coming off his All-Star year, was still solid. Evan Mobley in his second year got better. Still some solid guys like Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. And the team went 51 to 31. They were the number 1 defense in the NBA in the regular season. Defensively, Evan Mobley finished top 3 in DPOY voting. Yeah, and even with the 2 small guard lineup, it looked like it was going to work because he still had 2 bigs like Mobley and Allen in there that are really good defenders in the paint. It's just a really successful year in the regular season for the Cavaliers. Really successful regular season. Playoffs was a lot different. Probably one of the more disappointing teams in the playoffs. As a 4-5 going up against the Knicks, it's never easy going up against a 4-5, but still very disappointing. We're gonna get a lot more into the specific players, but just the kind of the heart and the energy that they had throughout the regular season didn't really translate over to the playoffs. You could see like they didn't have the same level of aggression, the same level of heart and intensity that they used to have in the regular season. And this team has a lot of work to do. They're still very young. They're not. They're not in the championship contender tier yet. Their goal this year wasn't to go out and win a championship, but it's still a little disappointing. You still want to see this team get better, at least, even if they did lose in this round. At least be a little bit more competitive. Have it be like a 7-game tough series that they just lost, and it was like, oh, well, they still had a really good series, but they just didn't look good in the playoffs. They did not look good, and there's some changes and things to be talked about with this Cavalier team. Going to the individual players, starting with Donovan Mitchell. He had one heck of a regular season, probably one of the best seasons in Cavalier history. The man had a 71-point game. 1 point with, like, what? Didn't he have, like, 11 assists as well? It was insane. I watched that full game. It was absolutely crazy. Donovan Mitchell averaged 28, 4 and 4, 1.5 steals. Shot 48% from the field, 38% from 3. He was the guy the Cavs needed as to kind of be the next step. The guy that could come in and be the superstar, guy that they can rely on. And Donovan Mitchell is just an amazing basketball player. You see what he does on the court. It's like, dang, this dude is really, really good. Fortunately, he didn't have a good playoff series. His first game was really good. He had 38, but no one else in the Cavs showed up with him, and they lose that game. Second game, Darius Garland had a huge one, so he had 17 points, 13 assists. Then after that, game 3, 4, and 5, just tough shooting. Didn't really look that great, especially game 4. Well, he made like 1 shot in the second half. It was very bad. So Donovan Mitchell, who's known as a amazing playoff player. Look at him. I think he has like the 5th or 6th most points per game in the playoffs ever. Like, he had a 57-point game 1 in the bubble. Like, he's known for being a huge playoff performer. So it was really disappointing to see that he didn't have that same level when the Cavs really desperately needed it. That was very tough, but Donovan Mitchell's still Donovan Mitchell. He's still amazing, all-star, superstar, dang near level talent. So yeah, really love that the Cavs went out and made that move, especially looking at it now, not giving up a whole lot for Donovan Mitchell. And the Jazz actually got some really good pieces too, so it was kind of turned into a win-win scenario. Next, we have Darius Garland. Coming off his All-Star year last year, he still had a pretty good year. He averaged 21.5 points, 2 rebounds, almost 8 assists with a steal. He shot 46% from the field, 41% from three. Had some big moments. The only thing that like I want to see more from Darius Garland is him being more aggressive. I feel like he's still trying to find his rhythm or find a way between scoring and passing as well. There's a lot of times where he's not really taking a lot of shots. He's being a little bit more passive. But I want to see Darius Garland. The next step for him is like you saw it in game two. You saw it in the second half of game four. Darius Garland has the potential to be like a 25, like a 23 and 9, 23 and 10, like that type of dude. You know, he has a chance to give you games where he has 32 and 10 assists. Like he has that type of game. It's just you don't really see him much with the points a lot because he has Donovan Mitchell and he loves throwing those lobs to Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. But I want to see Darius Garland be a little bit more aggressive as a scorer. I'm not saying go out there and average 30 a game. We don't need that, but just want to see him have more big time aggressive scoring moments. I think that's his next step. And if he can find the balance between having those aggressive scoring moments while also finding his teammates, that'll just unlock a whole nother level for him to get to. And that would be insane. But yeah, I love the piece, the Garland and Mitchell kind of pairing together. You know, you saw this year they both kind of can get their own and also find their teammates when they need to. Defensively, it's gonna be tough for Darius just because he's really small. But I saw it throughout the regular season. He was trying. Darius Garland is putting in effort and trying to defend. It's just he's not gonna be a great defender because he's barely 6 feet, 6'1". So it's gonna be very tough for him to guard. But at least he puts in the effort to try and be not just be out there just standing on the defensive end. Next guy is Evan Mobley, their young, piece. They got him third overall. In his second year, he played pretty solid. He averaged 16, 9, and 2 with 1.5 blocks. Shot 55% from the field. Only 21% from three. He's definitely not there, the 3-point shooting yet. But in the regular season, he played really well. I made a lot of short about him and stuff. Even though statistically it didn't look like a crazy jump, because last year he was so good as a rookie, people kind of expected him to go turn into like an 18, 20 point per game score. We're not ready. We don't need that yet. But he just looked a lot more aggressive in the regular season. He looked a lot more like comfortable. He has great touch around the rim. We know that his passing ability is pretty good. Defensively, you can't really say much more about him except for that he might be a little bit underweight, and I expect him to get a little bit stronger coming into next year, put on a little bit more weight. Definitely after the playoff series, because you can definitely see that he's on he's not on the stronger side when it comes to big men like that. Emily had a really good regular season. He finished top 3 in defense player of the year. He had a couple first place votes for defense player of the year, which is very shocking. And I won't be surprised if he wins a DPOY in the next 2 or 3 years. He wins one because defensively he's amazing, especially being only 21 years old. That's very rare to see someone that high of a level defensively already in year 2, year 3. Imagine in year 2 you're finish top 3 in defense player of the year. That's insane. The playoffs were not the same story. Playoffs, he really struggled to find his shot. Kind of looked a little bit passive as well at some points, and then again the strength definitely has to get in the right room and work on his body a little bit more. But I'm not really scared about Evan Mobley. No one should be worried about or scared about Evan Mobley because, we got to think about in this context, even he just came off his second season. He just came off his second year. He's not going to be perfect still. He's going to be really good. He's not even perfect. He still has so much more time. He's 21 years old. He still has so much time to grow, literally and figuratively, and just be better. So I'm not worried about Evan Mobley. He still needs to develop and work on some things, and I expect him to work on those things because he's a huge, huge, huge piece for this Cavaliers team for the future. And then other guys I want to talk about, Jared Allen. He averaged 14 and almost 10 with an assist and a block, shot 64% from the field in the regular season. Playoffs, very, very, very disappointing for Jared Allen. Got outplayed by Mitch Robinson by, not even by a little bit. He got a lot, really outplayed by Mitch Robinson. You could just tell it kind of was eating at him because You could tell kind of that his energy was down. He wasn't making those same aggressive plays. He just kind of looked like, oh man, I'm having it rough out here, man. Which is very disappointing. And there's a lot of talk about this if the future of the Cavaliers is the two big man lineup of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And I think it's crazy to say that Jared Allen's still like 25 years old or like 25. That's kind of crazy. I feel like he's been in the league for like 8 years. They're still young, still has time. I think I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, potentially they could break up the duo. I don't think they should do it yet because I still think we have to wait another year and see. Of course, in that playoff series, both those dudes got really outplayed by Mitchell Robinson. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson. Like he turned into he looked like prime Bill Russell out there getting every single rebound possible. But I still think I don't think it's time to break that duo up yet. I don't think it's time. They have to look at trades for Jared Allen. I still think this two big man lineup can be very solid. Also, kind of depends on Evan Mobley's jump shot a little bit. Because again, Evan Mobley isn't there 3-point shooting wise. He can hit one, but you would love to see him take a three rather than be in the paint. So it definitely depends on that. If Evan Mobley's jump shot doesn't really develop like that, then and it does, and you look in the playoffs and it doesn't really work, then maybe you can start seeing that. But I still think we have to give it another year or two before we start thinking about getting rid of old Mobley and Allen. I also want to talk about Isaac Okoro as well. He averaged 6 points, 2 rebounds in the regular season. He shot 49% from the field, 36% from three. After I want to say January-ish, he was like a 40+% 3-point shooter. Playoffs were kind of disappointing in the first game. He didn't play that much because he missed all of his shots. The second game, he only played the first 2 minutes of the game, getting 2 fouls and didn't get put back in. But I love the response of Isaac Okoro. Game 3, 4, and 5, he wasn't starting anymore. Karis LeVert became that starting. He came off the bench, and instead of just soaking there and just being standing in the corner, he actually tried. He was trying to do the other thing. He said, all right, three's not working, and they're not really guarding me. I'm just going to attack. Because Isaac Okoro is pretty solid at attacking the rim and really athletic. He could finish some good layups and dunks. But he doesn't really take that off because those opportunities aren't there. They want him to stand in the corner and hit that corner three. But there's definitely a lot of potential. You see it. Isaac Okoro's 3-point shot is coming along a little well. Still needs a little bit more practice and time to develop. But I don't think Cleveland should move on from Isaac Okoro already. I think they should give it a little bit more time to see if he can develop into a decent 3-point shooter. I'm not saying he needs to be a 43% lights out marksman, but just not being a liability. Just have people respect you and not just leave you in a corner all by yourself. That's the step for Isaac Okoro. Just don't have people leave you open in the corner for the entire game, entirety of the time you're on the floor. That's all. Then Karis LeVert as well. I had a very love-hate relationship with Karis LeVert during the regular season. He has some big moments. He has some very bad moments. I was really surprised that he wasn't traded at the trade deadline. But I will give him a lot of credit for the playoffs. Because the playoffs, he really stepped up. Honestly, a little bit too much, kind of. There were some points where, he was taking people one-on-one, and it was like, all right, Karis. Pass it to Donovan, please. But, Karis LeVert really showed up in the playoffs. He's big. Definitely want to see what his future is in Cleveland. Because I can't see a world where he does maybe get traded soon and goes to a new team. But I also do see a scenario where maybe they keep him around as a bench punch because we definitely didn't have that. I like him a lot better as a 6-man more than a starter. A 6-man and come off the bench has the potential to give you a 20, 25-point game. So we have that, and then just the depth. I knew this entire season that the depth of this team was going to be exposed at some point, and I'm kind of not really. I said in my playoff preview video that the Cavaliers, they win this series if the role players do anything. And I mean anything, not even play above average, just do anything. If they're not just out there just standing in a corner and not doing anything, if they're doing something at least, Cavaliers can win this series. Now, of course, I didn't predict Mobley and Allen would get outplayed by Mitchell Robinson. I didn't think Don Mitchell would have those bad games. But the role players, the depth of this team really sticks out. I knew this entire season, this Cavs depth is not, after the top four, it's okay, what else do we got here? After Donovan, Darius, Evan, Jared, it's okay, I don't know what's gonna happen tonight. It might be Karis LeVert getting 20. It might be Jetty Osmond hitting two threes. It might be Dean Wade doing something. It might be Isaac. It's a big question mark. What's gonna happen? And that's a big problem with this team, especially if you're putting all the weight on the starting lineup and you can't really trust your bench. That's huge, especially in the playoffs, for the bench to come up to give you something. So I definitely think they have a lot of work to do. The small forward position is very, very vacant and very big question mark on the team. It should be Isaac Okoro. It was Isaac Okoro last year, but he still needs a lot more time to develop and stuff. And just they need wings. I think they just need wings that can that can hit shots and play defense. They need 3-and-D wings. That's all they need. I feel like everything else in this team is good. They got the guys like Garland and Mitchell who can handle the ball, score, find their teammates. They have guys like Ricky Rubio, who came off the bench, was decent. Raul Neto, when he played, had solid. Their big men, Mobley and Allen, are good. I really like Dean Wade on this team as well. I think Dean Wade's a very solid player. Of course, the injuries kind of messed him up, but they just need win. They need play back and play the forward positions that can shoot and defend is what they need. There's also a lot of conversation about JB Bickerstaff and him as a coach. I like JB as a coach. He says the right things. He brings the energy and stuff. It's just the playoffs were not great for him. Playoffs showed a lot of things. The rotations weren't great. The offensive sets were not amazing as well. It was literally kind of just Donovan to Darius doing something, and then Mobley and Allen set a screen, and then they just try to see, like, there's no really set offensive plays that they run a whole lot. And there's been talk about the firing of JB Bickerstaff. I don't. I think the team loves JB, and I think the Cavs aren't in that phase yet where it's like, all right, we need to win a championship now, because they're all still very young, and this is kind of like the second year of like us being good. I definitely am not going to be surprised if when the Cavs reach that level of like, all right, now we are good enough to win a championship, JB is not the coach of that team. I won't be surprised if they kind of do similar to what the Warriors did, where Mark Jackson kind of developed this team and brought them to a certain point that he could have brought them to, and then he gets shifted out, and then they bring in the next coach that takes them to the championship. I won't be surprised if that's what happens with JB Bickerstaff with this Cavs team, where in another year or two, the Cavs are like, all right, this is the team, we're ready. This team can really win a championship. And then maybe it's like, all right, JB, we're sorry, we love you. You brought us here, but we got to get the new guy that comes in and brings you to the next level. I think that's probably what's going to happen with Bickerstaff. Which, I mean, it sucks, but it's like what it's true. It's a true thing. We've seen it a lot of times. It's the true thing that happens. So I won't be surprised if that happens. But yeah, Kobe Altman, that Cavs front office has a lot of work to do. They don't have a first round pick because they gave it up for Karis LeVert last year. That pick's in Indiana now. And so it's really focused on free agency. What wings are available in free agency? This free agency is not big on stars, but it is big on role players, which could be a plus and a minus. It could be a plus because there's a lot of role players to pick from and stuff, but also a minus because now those guys are the top guy. Those guys kind of are more looked at now in free agency. Now that there's no stars, those guys normally, like, a lot of teams are looking at them now. So we'll see what happens with that. I really hope they get some wing play. That's all they need. Wing play. Wing play, wing play, wing play. Wing play. Just put that on Kobe Altman's wall on his door so he can look at it. Wings. Wings. All they need in free agency. Wings. Just put that on, plaster that on his wall. Put it on his phone. Do everything he can so he can see. They need wings. All right, Kobe. But yeah, the Cavs definitely have some work to do in the offseason. Definitely kind of a disappointing end to the season, but it was very fun to watch this team develop. This team has all the right things and all the right pieces to eventually become a championship team. It's just they're still young. You got to remember, this team is still, like, Darius Garland is still only like 23. Evan Mobley's 21. Donovan Mitchell is 26. Jared Allen's 25. Those top four, they're all about around the age of 25 and younger, or 26 and younger. Like, this team still has a lot of This team still has some potential to get to. Like some of their star players still have some levels to reach, which you can't really say about all the other teams that are kind of in near around their area on their position. So that's one thing the Cavs have is they have time on their side because other guys are still young and still have some more growing to do. They already have the right pieces put in place. It's just the surrounding parts where they have the key pieces already set in place. It's just the surrounding parts that are the big question if what's gonna happen with that, and that really need a lot of work. But I think the Cavs are fine for the future. This offseason is big to see what the GM does and who they get, and I think that'll be a big determining factor for next year. Yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do other content, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And yeah, we got more look-in series coming. We got the Bucks is the next one. It's probably gonna be tomorrow early, or it's potentially late night. Nah, I'll do it tomorrow early. That makes sense. Tomorrow early, and then yeah, and then we're gonna have probably three more because we still have three more series left to go. So we have three more look-in series for the next few days when the teams get eliminated, and then yeah, then we'll just keep going for the rest of the season. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.